welcome back. Let's go ahead and do my April wrap up, seeing as how we're 10 days into May. The first book that I read last month was The Wren in the Holly Library. This was 5 stars. Imagine if Beauty and the Beast were set in a alternate reality dystopian version of New York City, and Belle was actually a thief, and the Beast was a monster who hired her to steal an artifact for him. That's this book. It's really good. I immediately pre-ordered book 2, which I think comes out in June, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I cannot wait to read the next book in this series because it definitely leaves you on a cliffhanger. And also, it's really pretty. It's a really pretty book. Next, I read A Song to Drown Rivers, and this was 4 stars for me. I did really enjoy this one. This is based off of one of the 4 beauties of ancient China. In this one, Xixia is trained to integrate herself into the court of a rival king that has conquered her homeland. And she eventually is meant to gain his trust and then sabotage him and help her kingdom to kill this king. So this follows her as she is in the court and interacting with the king and the others in the court. Obviously, some of them do not trust her because she is from the rival kingdom, but she is definitely earning the king's trust. I would say the one thing that could be better would be more detail of like her time with the king. However, again, I guess that might be a little bit, because she marries the king, and obviously she is doing this not because she wants to, but because she has this alternative goal and mission. So I guess maybe they just didn't want to go into what some of that would look like, but it definitely skips time. And I just sometimes wish it had a little bit more detail about how she did the things, like what the things that she did to gain his trust. It didn't necessarily have to get graphic, but it would have been nice to see some of those conversations with the king maybe, or, just things other than all of a sudden he just 100% trusts her, and, it just seemed a little bit vague. So I definitely would have liked more detail. However, it is a gorgeous book. The ending was not bad. The ending was sad. In my April Aurelium Equinox vlog, you'll see that made me, this one made me cry. So it wasn't a bad ending, but it was a sad ending. So if you don't like sad endings, you might not want to read this one. Next up is Magnolia Parks, and this gets a 2-star from me. The writing is not bad, which is why it doesn't have a 1-star. The writing is perfectly fine. However, this is extremely toxic. The 2 characters in here do not have a healthy relationship. It is a very toxic relationship. And the fact that her entire friend group, their entire friend group, because they've grown up together, their entire friend group, her whole family basically just accepts that this relationship is fine and normal is ridiculous. I will not be continuing in the series, so I did look up what happens, whatever with these characters. So I do know why BJ did the things that he did to Magnolia. And I do know the ending, how everything, ends. However, I'm sorry. I'm one of those that I feel like your trauma does not give you permission to cause trauma to other people purposefully. So yeah, I mean, Snape, I'm glad he did the right thing in the end, but he had no business bullying Neville like he did. And I stand by that. So anyways, yes, this was 2-star. Drama, if you like drama, you might like this one. It's very messy. It's very immature. I mean, I'm 34. The characters in here are in their early 20s, but still, even for somebody in their early 20s, this is very immature. So, do with that what you will. Next up, I have the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, which is book 3 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. And I love the artwork of these new hardback editions. So in this one, they are on the 4th floor, which is called the Iron Tangle. And it is basically like a bunch of train lines. And they're having to navigate all of these train lines to try to find the stairwell that will lead them to the next floor of the dungeon. And then also, you know, Carl is trying to save them all. And this book is no exception. So he is trying as hard as he can to help the other crawlers to make it to the next floor as well. So the plot is definitely starting to get more intricate. You're starting to get more of the behind the scenes of the crawl and the different members of the syndicate, the different types of aliens and those kind of things. You're starting to meet even more characters. They are starting to kind of come together and work together. And I'm really enjoying these series. These books are getting better and better as you go. So definitely recommend this. Also, this was, of course, 5 stars. Next up, I read The Spellshop, and this was 5 stars as well. This was exactly what I needed when I needed it. I read this pretty much during the middle of my week where I was moving during spring break. And I had been sick and was just very stressed out. And I had read all of these like emotionally draining books. And this was just exactly what I needed. The main character, Keela, is a librarian. And at the very beginning of the book, she is trying to escape because like revolutionaries or whatever are taking over the city and they're setting fire to the library. So she ends up escaping to her childhood home and starts a spell shop, but it's actually a jam shop. But she's also selling spells, which is illegal. But she's trying to help the island where she grew up. She's trying to help them to save the trees and things because the magic has gone all wonky and things are not the way that they should be. And there is also a romance in here. Her neighbor, Lauren, you can tell he likes her and she is totally oblivious to it. And it is very cute watching her finally realize that and then realize her feelings for him. So that part is very cute. This is definitely a cozy fantasy, typically what you would call low stakes, but there is a little bit of a threat to her at some point in the book because she is doing illegal magic. So there is that. I definitely recommend this one if you're in the mood for something cute and cozy. Then I read A River of Golden Bones, and this was another 2-star read for me this month. This book was the author deciding that she wanted to write about the issue of gender identity, but it's like the author just wanted to write a story about that and then set up everything else around that. There's only so many times that you can say, if my sister and I had been born boys, we wouldn't be in this problem because we could claim our kingdom on our own. We get it after about the 3rd or 4th time of you repeating that. We got it. I think the most disappointing thing about this book is that it let me read this to you. If you were Sleeping Beauty's twin, lusting over your sister's big bad wolf fiance, forced on a journey in Howl's Moving Castle in order to kill the Wicked Witch, would you be brave enough to figure out what kind of hero you are? When you tell me it's a cross between Sleeping Beauty and Howl's Moving Castle, I have high expectations, and this did not deliver on that. The Howl's Moving Castle part of it was this like wagon full of traveling musicians, and there wasn't very much that was magical about that. So this was definitely disappointing. And then also the world itself was not very fleshed out. Like, I've read books where the author, it seems like the author's main goal was to get across this theme or this message that they just wanted to put out there, and that's fine. I can read books like that, but you've got to, the plot's got to be plotting, and the plot was not plotting in this one. It just was not. Yeah, so there's that one. I do not recommend this one. Then I read A Fate Inked in Blood, and this, I think, was what this one was kind of trying to accomplish a little bit. But in this one, the plot was the main focus. So in this one, you have Feyre, who is married to an undesirable person. She ends up forced to show that she has a drop of God's blood. And there is this whole prophecy centered around her that she had no idea was a thing. But then she is forced to then marry a different man so that he can control her fate, because the prophecy says that he who controls her fate will be made king of all, I think it's Scotland. And it has those same themes of, you know, typically men are given more rights and treated differently than women are in, you know, certain cultures. So this is inspired by Norse mythology, and her not having control of her own life and her being controlled is a big part of the story. But it's really focusing on her rebelling against that and deciding, like, no, I'm going to make my own fate. This was definitely a 5-star read for me. And then finally, I read The Ornithologist Field Guide to Love. I had 2 days left in the month and was trying to fit in one more book, and this one ended up being perfect. I think this actually might be my favorite read of the month. And in this one, you have your two main characters, Beth and Devin. They are ornithologists, and they are in a competition to find this rare bird so that they can be named Birder of the Year. And the whole field of ornithologists are going after this bird. So they're trying to like sabotage each other. They are, you know, just like crazy over the top things. It was so funny. Also, the two main characters are falling for each other, and neither one of them really realize it. And so it's very sweet and romantic. Think Romancing the Stone or like Indiana Jones. And then the female main character, Beth, she reminds me of Evie from The Mummy. And Devin does remind me of Indiana Jones. So this was definitely another 5-star read for me, and I really loved it, and I definitely think you should read this too. This actually has inspired a vlog that I will be doing, and I will probably have that by the end of the month, maybe. So, a little quick fire, do I think you should read this book? The Wren and the Holly Library? Yes. A Song to Drown Rivers? Yes. Magnolia Parks? No, do not recommend. The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook? Yes, of course. Start with book number 1 though. The Spellshop? Yes. Very cute, very cozy. Definitely think you should give it a read. A River of Golden Bones? No, skip it. A Fate Inked in Blood? Yes, loved it. Ornithologist Field Guide to Love? Yes, definitely check it out. And that is it for this one. I still have to film my April book haul, because I do have one. It's quite a bit smaller than March, but I do have some books that I got last month. And then I also have to do my May spread in my reading journal because I finally finished my first book of May and I haven't finished my journal spread yet. So I'm going to try to get that done today, definitely by the end of this weekend. And you should be seeing that soon as well. And I will see you next time. Bye.